somebody that shows up in your face as your husband. I feel like a lot of us are accepting below standards because we just want to be in a relationship. If all he does for God is go to church on Easter, that is not a Christian man. You'll commit to a lease where you have to pay rent for 16 months with somebody that hadn't put a ring on your finger. Just in case you didn't know, I'm the type of Christian, like, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna say something people don't want to say because it needs to be said. I don't forget that I can have this, baby. Nobody else you. Nobody else made it smooth. Nobody else had a clue what I could do, what I could do. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we need to have a little chat. As a Christian, I am so sick and tired of the stereotypes surrounding singleness, and a lot of it has to do with the way that we are taught to think about being single, and it's not realistic. It causes a whole bunch of issues that it doesn't need to cause, and we make a whole bunch of stupid decisions because of the way we think about it. So I thought I would come on here and just share with you guys like my real genuine experience of being single and why it's not like the worst thing in the world and how to like deal with it. Because let's be real, in today's society it's not crazy to want to be in a relationship, but sometimes that's just not where you need to be right now, and it's difficult to deal with that if you don't know how to properly do it and you don't have the right tools and you're taught to think about it a certain way that's negative and damaging. So hopefully this video will help you figure all that out. And while we talk, I am going to be doing my makeup because I'm getting ready to go to the movies to see Ant-Man and the Wasp in like 2 hours, so kind of trying to rush a little bit. So before we get started, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, put your notifications on so you don't miss any of my uploads. Make sure that you are following me on Instagram and TikTok for daily content. And finally, my hair products are all restocked, so make sure if you're interested, go and grab it before I sell out. Alright guys, let's get into it. Now let me just go ahead and say this right off the bat. I feel like there's nothing wrong with not liking being single. And I think that this is okay to say because I honestly think it's unrealistic to expect people to be happy in every single season that they are in. Like, that's just not possible. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you don't like where you are in life. It's okay to have those emotions. We're human. For example, let's say that you are in a season of financial instability and no one's going to tell you you're crazy for not enjoying that part of your life. But yet for some reason, we are told, mainly women are told, that we should be enjoying and embracing and loving being single and being happy and perfectly content and satisfied in being single. And I just think that's kind of a ridiculous ask. But I personally think that God has a plan for everybody. And like, his plan is like gradual. So you don't start out getting everything that he has for you. You slowly work up. That's because in order to prepare us for each stage of our lives and each thing God has, we have to use where we are right now to grow and to learn. For example, I'll say with me, with social media, right? I feel like I went through a lot of really difficult things that prepared me to be able to handle a platform. I would not have been able to handle being an influencer in high school. I didn't have the self-confidence. I didn't have the work ethic. I cared too much about being popular and getting attention, which I feel like would have led me to do things that aren't of God just to get views and engagement, which thankfully I have standards now. And so I had to go through a lot of difficult periods in order to get to the place that I am and the maturity I am to handle a platform with, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I had to experience being, you know, bullied in high school. I had to experience being left out and outcasted and not having friends in order to be comfortable being by myself in order to handle it when God gave me what he needed to give me. Same thing with going through med school. I needed to learn what was and wasn't for me, and I needed to learn how to make big decisions and trust God in these decisions in order to have the career that I have now. Because owning a business is very risky. You have to take big decisions, and if you're indecisive about things, you're never going to be successful. And my point is, going through all those things wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy struggling with the decision to leave med school. I didn't enjoy struggling with not having friends and not being popular and not being included and always being left out. I didn't enjoy those things, but those things helped me to be able to handle what God has blessed me with in the past few years. So when it comes to singleness, I feel like it's okay to be like, hey, I don't really like this. But I feel like there's a difference between enjoying singleness and embracing singleness. And I think that's where the disconnect lies. So for me, I have shared this before on social media. I have never actually been in a relationship. You guys know I am turning 24 this year in the summer. and I have never had like a true relationship. Like, I've talked to people and went out on a few dates, but I've never actually committed to someone as being like their girlfriend and them being my boyfriend. My thing is, I am very big on not wasting my time, and that's something that I had to learn, that just because someone wants to be in a relationship with you, that doesn't mean that you should be in a relationship with them, especially when you know it's not going to work out, because you're just going to catch a bunch of feelings and then end up heartbroken for no reason when you didn't have to, if you would have just decided it's okay for me to not have this relationship right now. So as far as like my history regarding like guys and stuff, so again, I had never been in a relationship before, but in high school, like, I had a huge crush. Like, from 8th grade until like the 12th grade, I had a huge crush on this guy. Until this day, I don't think he ever even knows, but it doesn't really matter. That was high school. It's not like the same thing anymore. I was always super shy. Again, I lacked a lot of self-confidence in high school, so I never thought that I could actually have a chance with him, and so I never said anything to him. It was just one of those things where I was so shy that, like, whenever he came around, I would pretend, like, I would ignore him and pretend he wasn't in the room, like, because I knew if I tried to talk to him, I wouldn't be able to form complete sentences, and then it'd just be all embarrassing and yada yada. So basically, of course, we never got together or anything. And side note, I always feel like he low-key might have had a crush on me, but maybe because of the way I acted, he just didn't think I was interested. So, which is fair. But, that was years ago. But I had a crush on him, and then nothing happened with that. Then going into college, I may have talked to somebody like once a year in college, and it was typically for maybe like no more than a month. We would just talk, and then there would be something about him that just didn't really, match my vibe or whatever. Or the reason why we wouldn't be together is like there something would happen, and I'll be like, okay, that had to be God, because there was no reason for that to happen. It didn't make sense. There was no reason for him to have this red flag, or there was no reason for me to find out about this. Like, it doesn't make sense why this will be the way he is and stuff based on like our conversations. So it was clear that God was blocking me from being in a relationship. But like, I wasn't the type to like go and try to find guys all the time to be in a relationship. I wasn't like that, but I wasn't the type where I wanted to turn down every single potential relationship I could be in. But that's just the way things happened and the way things ended up. So that was really college. So after college, I graduated in 3 years. So my last year, I actually did a gap year and just spent it at home because, COVID and my med school application, I wasn't really ready for it. And yeah. And so while I was at home, I did talk to somebody. We just happened to meet randomly, and so we started talking. We went on a few dates, but I cut it off because it wasn't what I wanted. For me, the biggest thing with me is I am just terrified of being in a relationship with the wrong person, because I know it's going to end in heartbreak. And the thing is, I'm the type of friend that my friends would go to for advice, even though I had never been in a relationship, because I was the most like impartial. After listening to all their experiences and stuff like that, I just never was the type to get in a relationship with someone that I wasn't 100% sure wouldn't waste my time and wouldn't like essentially ruin my life. And so because of that, I was always single. I will definitely say it is very difficult, like extremely difficult, to have a bunch of friends in relationships and you're always the third wheel, or you just never with somebody, or people always look at you weird and funny. Because the thing is, this is not vanity or anything, but I know I'm pretty. Like, I know I'm attractive. I know that it's not the reason why I'm not in a relationship isn't because I'm ugly or whatever, not attractive. I know that. And so that makes other people judge me sometimes and be like, well, she's pretty, so there must be something wrong. Like, she must be crazy. She must be this. She must be that because she's not in a relationship. She must be bougie. She must be, all these things. And so that was kind of difficult to deal with being single. And again, this is all just to show you guys, like, being single is not easy. Being single isn't really fun all the time, It's okay to be like, dang, this kind of sucks. And during my gap year, that person I talked to and I cut it off, that was the last time I ever talked to anybody. Really, like, I'm telling y'all, it's weird. Like, you would think, like, I would have so many prospects now that I'm an influencer and a lot of people know me and I'm just more out there, you know what I'm saying? But actually, I got more DMs and stuff when I wasn't I got more DMs and stuff when I wasn't an influencer, versus now I barely get DMs from guys, and if it is, it's like this random person with all these things in their bio talking about RIP this, check out my mixtape, nothing like serious. So again, that person was the last person I talked to. That was in 2020, I believe. So it's been about 2 years since I talked to anybody. When I say talked, I mean I haven't given out my number. I haven't communicated with anybody. I haven't DM'd with anyone back and forth. I've done nothing. Like, I've had no type of romantic interaction with the opposite sex at all. With all that being said, again, that was just my journey, just kind of sharing with you guys like how singleness can be a struggle. And it's not something that you enjoy all the time, and it's okay to acknowledge that. Now, going back to what I was saying before, there's a difference between enjoying a season and embracing a season. And what I mean by that is God puts us through seasons in our life for a specific reason. Like I said, his plan is gradual. So you have to grow and you have to learn certain things in order to be prepared for the next phase of your life. Again, with social media, I had to learn a lot of things and go through a lot of difficult things in order to be prepared to be blessed with a career and a platform like this. I didn't just wake up one day and God was like, here, because I tried to start my YouTube channel like 2 years before I actually did, and it didn't work because I just was not in a proper place spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And so I had to grow and learn a lot of things about myself and get into a better place in my life before social media was an actual reality for me. When it comes to singleness, the reason why I don't think, even though you shouldn't enjoy it, you should embrace it and you shouldn't try to get out of it, is because I believe that God has a special someone for everyone, and that at the right time, he's gonna send you that person. Like I said, I was never the type to go and look for a man. If you feel like you have to go look for your husband, you're not gonna find your husband. God will send you your husband when you're at the right place at the right time. If you are trusting God and following his plan for your life, you will naturally end up in the right place at the right season, in the right emotional and mental state, and God will bring you your husband. I feel like a lot of us are trying to do his job. Like, he's like, I have your husband, he's here, I know exactly where he is, when the time's right, I'll send him. And before he sends you your significant other, he wants to work on some things so you don't ruin your significant other's life, and so you can have a healthy, relationship and a healthy marriage. For example, right now, let's say you're single, but let's say you have a difficulty communicating, you don't know how to express your feelings, right? God may be trying to work that out, maybe trying to use the season of your singleness to teach you how to communicate properly. That way, when he sends you your husband, y'all won't be having all these unnecessary arguments because you don't know how to talk to nobody. Or let's say you have an issue with sex. The man that God has called you to be with, he's celibate. Maybe he's trying to teach you how to like deal with not having sex for, an extended period of time, so that when your husband tells you he's celibate, you won't run the opposite way and miss out on your chance. Or let's say like me, and this is how I truly feel about myself right now. Let's say right now, I have so much that I am working on. I have so much that I'm trying to secure for my future. So right now, for me, a relationship would genuinely just be a distraction because I barely have enough time to be a grad student. I'm getting my master's degree in psychology, be a full-time business owner, and be a full-time social media platform that runs 4 social media platforms simultaneously. I have a TikTok, YouTube, and 2 Instagrams, one for my business and then one for personal. I barely have enough time to do all those things while still trying to work out and lose weight and, get things together for myself and read my Bible and work on myself. So me being in a relationship right now would genuinely be a distraction, because we all know that relationships take time. You have to invest time to get to know the person. If I am investing time in getting to know someone, that means that it's time that I'm not spending doing something that I need to do to be successful. I also think that God is using this period of my singleness to really help me establish independence, because I've always said that I never wanted to depend on a man. Like, I want a man that could take care of me, but I don't want a man to actually take care of me. Like, I want a man to be financially and emotionally and spiritually stable to where he could take care of me, but I don't want him to. Like, I need to be emotionally and physically and financially stable. I need to learn how to handle situations on my own. I need to learn how to handle finances and handle hard times and good times on my own. My husband shouldn't be my everything. He should just be an addition to my life. A great addition to my life, but an addition to my life. Also, I feel like God's trying to really help me grow in my relationship with him. That way, when I get in a relationship, he won't be put on the back burner. That's another thing. A lot of us, whenever we get into relationships, we forget about God. We start reading our Bibles, we start doing all this, we start doing all that. And we forget who sent us the man in the first place. So I feel like, again, when it comes to singleness, I just feel like we have just been taught to think about it the wrong way. Singleness is something that everybody goes through. Like, you need to go through it to learn what you need to learn to prepare you to be a good significant other. That's basically it. That doesn't mean you have to act like you enjoy every single moment of being single. Like, it's okay to not like it, is basically what I'm saying. You need to learn from it. You need to grow. There is something, every season, not just singleness, there is something in every season that God puts you through for a reason. And also, a really big thing that I have learned in my season of singleness is my standards. And this is a big thing when it comes to your significant other. Not everybody that shows up in your face is your husband. Like I said, there have been so many instances where I've had the opportunity to be in relationships, but I didn't because I knew this person was not what I wanted. And getting in a relationship with them would just be to fulfill my temporary loneliness, but it would lead to permanent damage emotionally. So let's talk about standards, because I feel like a lot of us are accepting below standards because we just want to be in a relationship. Every man that says they're a Christian is not a Christian. If all he does for God is go to church on Easter, that is not a Christian man. If he don't know how to handle himself when y'all get angry and he start getting physical or emotionally abusive with you, that man is not serving the Lord like he says he does. If he's over here scamming and plotting to get money illegally, or all he does is talk about and focus on money, no. If he's a man that doesn't want to be celibate, that's not a man serving God the way that he should be. The thing with celibacy is this. From a worldly perspective, there's a good argument against it. I'm not gonna lie. Because people like to say, I need to know what I'm working with before I commit my life to you. From a worldly perspective, that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to be stuck the rest of your life with someone that cannot please you in that way. But as Christians, we should think about it like the husband or the wife that God has for us is going to have every single quality we desire and that we want. So that's not going to be a concern. Trust, if you really are with the person God calls you to be, that's not going to be a problem at all. Y'all gonna be able to figure that out. I think the thing with celibacy is like, and I'll make a different video on this because I really have a lot to say about this. People treat sex like so lightly, and it's like crazy. And then like they'll refuse to acknowledge just how much it affects everything. Like y'all see people that have, they're in super toxic relationships, and for whatever reason, no matter what this person does to them, they never leave. It's because sex has created a connection with that person that they never should have had. And so it's difficult to leave because sex isn't just physical. It's emotional, and it's a spiritual thing that's supposed to happen between you and your partner. But when you do it outside of marriage with someone that you're not fully committed to, it creates all these types of interconnections that doesn't need to be connected and ties with this person, to where it's difficult for you to leave and let go and separate from this person, right? Because you were never supposed to know that person, and they were never supposed to know you in that way. And one of the bad consequences of this is having kids with people that you don't want to spend the rest of your life with. So now you have to be attached to this person for the rest of your life because you shared something with them that you never should have shared with them. But now you can't get away from them. All because of one night, or because you thought you were in love with this person. Same thing with living together, right? There's a reason why you're not supposed to live with someone until you're married. We talk about this all the time, like men wanting wifey actions without making you a wife. Y'all have a problem with that, but then you'll do like a wifey type thing and live with somebody. You'll commit to a lease where you have to pay rent for 16 months with somebody that hadn't put a ring on your finger. You'll move out of your entire place that you worked hard to pay for a man that hasn't put a ring on your finger. All because you're trying to see what it's like before. And again, if you are with the person God has called you to be with, all that stuff's not gonna matter. They're gonna be the perfect person to live with. It's not gonna be that deep. It's not gonna be that big a deal. So finally, I'm gonna give you guys a couple of tips on how I was able to embrace my singleness, even if I may not enjoy it all the time. So number one, I use this time to really focus on growing my relationship closer with Christ. I really focus on setting aside 30 to 45 minutes a day to read my word. I talk about this in how I got closer to Christ video. I got like a bunch of colored pencils and highlighters to make things fun and interesting. I have a Bible that's like super aesthetic, as well as like journals and stuff. Just finding my own little way to make reading the Bible more interesting, because it can be boring at times. Let's be real. We're not gonna act like it's not. Just in case you didn't know, I'm the type of Christian, like, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna say something people don't want to say because it needs to be said. Another thing you can do is try to figure out your passions. It's kind of difficult to have the time to figure out what you genuinely like and want to do with your life if you're in a relationship. Thankfully for me, in the past year, I have found that I am very passionate about being an influencer, content creator, and a business owner. And so though I'm not where I want to be in my career, I'm working very hard to achieve those goals. And again, that's why being single is a good thing, because I don't have any distractions preventing me from achieving what I want to achieve. I would love to be in a great place career-wise before I meet my husband. That way there's not so much pressure to try to find a way to balance doing both. So I don't know, like, for example, if you are thinking about being an influencer, start a YouTube channel. Look up types of videos you can make. If you're really into baking, take a cooking class. Another thing you can do to embrace your singleness is work on your mental health and your emotional issues. So if that means going to therapy, go to therapy. If there are some traumatic things in your life that you still need to work through, go work through them. Get through your childhood traumas before you meet your significant other. That's going to make your relationship so much more easier. Get confident in your body. If you're someone that's been trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight, or trying to, get a better fashion sense, like, do all that stuff now. Don't wait till you have a man and your self-confidence, and especially with your body, relies on what he tells you, relies on his compliments. Like, no. You want to be the type of person that a dude can walk up to you and say you're absolutely ugly, and you're not fazed because you know you're not. So get confident in those types of things. Like, I know society has made it seem like being in a relationship is like the peak of like happiness and stuff. But like I said, you can really be happy even though you're single. Like, I genuinely am very happy and satisfied with my life even though I'm single. Yeah, that's a part of my life that I would like to change eventually. Like I said, I'm turning 24 this year, and so it's not crazy for me to start thinking about like really, you know, getting ready to be in a serious relationship and committing to somebody like that. That's not crazy. But I genuinely do enjoy what I am doing with my life. I enjoy the steps I'm taking, the progress I'm making, the maturity that I'm getting from being by myself and really just getting to learn myself and just learn how I can be better. I really feel like God is working a lot of things in me. And also think about this. Maybe you're not in a relationship